Hi, everyone. Welcome to our BYO-Tea virtual Candlewick preview. My name is Sawako Schroda, and I'm the manager of library marketing at Candlewick. And I'm joined by my wonderful colleague, Pactra Lynch. Pactra is our school library marketing assistant. Sorry. So we're thrilled to offer you an exclusive preview of our latest releases for Fall 24. Join us as we delve into the world of picture books and sneak peek at some exciting new illustrated middle grade as well. To kick off this event, we're thrilled to have the current National Ambassador for Young People's Literature, Meg Medina, offering an exclusive sneak peek at her stunning upcoming picture book, No More Senora Mimi. Joining us for a conversation about the creative process, we'll also hear from the illustrator, Brittany Chickasee, as she provides insights into the beautiful art for this book. Then we'll move on to our brief staff presentation covering a span of our Fall 24 titles. And then finally, we'll then have Geisel award-winning team of See the Cat, David La Rochelle and Mike Panuka bringing it home with their newest picture book, Mr. Fox's Game of No. So make sure you stick around till the end. Feel free to use the Edelweiss catalog link in the chat box that I just dropped to follow along with all the titles in order of presentation. You can request the e-galleys of any of the showcase titles directly from the catalog. And additionally, a PDF of today's presentation will be sent to you in our virtual goodie bag after the event. So don't worry if any titles slip up during the presentation. It'll be shared, all the information after. And we'd also love to get your feedback on our titles in the chat box and sending questions to our authors throughout this event. We'd love to hear what you guys are most excited about. And also please use the Q&A button as well at the bottom. That's available to you too. If you're having technical difficulties, not to worry. We'll be distributing a link to the archive recording of this preview later, so you won't miss a thing. And live captioning is available if you want to turn that on at the bottom of your screen. All right, let's move on to our first guest speaker. We're incredibly fortunate to have Meg Medina joining us today. I'm sure you're all familiar with her remarkable achievements, but just to recap, Meg is the current National Ambassador for Young People's Literature and the brilliant mind behind the Newbery Medal-winning book, Mercy Suarez Changes Gears. Her repertoire extends to award-winning young adult novels and picture books adorned with endless awards and accolades. Today, Meg is here to share the origin story of No More Senora Mimi, a heartwarming and poignant tale that celebrates the essential role of caretakers in our lives. Comes out simultaneously in Spanish as well. And so without further ado, take it away, Meg.
Hello, everybody. It's so good to be with you today. This is me in my house here in Virginia, and I'm delighted to be talking with you today about No More Señora Mimi, or if you read it in Espanol, No Más Señora Mimi. One of the beautiful joys is seeing the work come out in both languages. So the origin story of Senora Mimi is, of course, in my life. I think I brought some slides that I think you might want to see. There I am. So I am in, I think, kindergarten in this picture on the left with this short hair. My mother always liked, and my aunt always did different hairdos for picture day, and they were always a disaster. So this was an early disaster of picture day. But you can see that this is what my family looked like in 1969. My mom was a single mom, and she had two daughters. She had Lidia Maria, my sister, and me. This is us, I think, at Christmas, because I do remember that little wooden piano. I had a caretaker, a babysitter, when I was a little kid. My mom was a working mom, like many moms today. And Mimi was a Cuban lady with bright red hair. I have a picture of her as well for you to see. I think she's on the next slide somewhere. There she is. If you can see, she's the red-headed lady in the blue dress and the white gloves. So Mimi was my babysitter. She lived in a building a couple of blocks away. And one day, my mother said to me, "Oye, listen, your grandmother is coming your family is coming from Cuba. So your new babysitter is going to be abuela. And I was buzzy-headed with that information. I had not met my aunts or my grandparents. They were all in Cuba. And suddenly this instant family was going to be part of my life. And so I did the only thing that I could think of. I marched over to Mimi. Next time I was at her house the next morning, and I said, "Lo siento, Mimi, I'm sorry, but you're fired. My grandmother is coming to be my babysitter." And she took it very well, very gently. She said, "Oh, your abuela's coming. How lovely." What was beautiful about the experience is that you can see that Mimi is in that picture with my aunts and with my grandmother in the back, with abuela. They became fast friends. So I never really did lose Señora Mimi. She remained in my life forever. In fact, I knew her throughout my teen years, what came my wedding. Her daughter was very close friends with my aunts and my grandmother. So there was a bond that was created there that never got broken. And I wanted to investigate that. I think a lot of kids form these really close relationships with their caregivers. And I wanted to just explore how kids love and how kids open their heart to be loved. I had the incredible experience of working with Brittany Chickasee on this book. And I'm going to turn it over to Brittany in a minute. But one thing I want to say about Brittany is this. Well, actually, I'm going to say three quick things about Brittany that completely jazz me. One thing, she's a librarian, right? And because my ambassadorship has been so focused on libraries and librarians, that just felt like fate to me, that it felt so good to be working so closely with somebody who was a librarian. The second thing is that I believe that she captures subtle, small moments. This is essentially a book about a kid who's going to fire her babysitter and then really think about what that means. And so it's a small twist of a kaleidoscope, and you need someone who can really catch emotion. And I believe that Brittany was the perfect person for this project. And I also want to show you this. These are Cuban crackers. And Brittany used a little picture of a plate of Cuban crackers in the book, among the many very culturally specific details of a Latino kid with a Latino babysitter, just living life. But all of those details she offered into the manuscript and into the book so beautifully that I'm just delighted. I know it's coming out and folded and gathered. Some of you are going to receive this beautiful sort of mailer that Candlewick made for it. And I just can't wait to hear from you and to hear from students about their own relationship with their caregivers and the role that babysitters have played in their lives. And I'm sure that that is probably cutting into Brittany's time. So I want to pass it to my co-creator on this beautiful project, Brittany.
Thank you. Thank you, Meg. It's really wonderful to see this beautiful homage to and representation of POC caregivers who play such a significant role in shaping the growth of children all around the country. And I gotta try that Cuban cracker. I mean, come on, that looks delicious.
It's delicious with butter, with butter.
Always with butter. Okay, gotcha. Great tip. Thank you. And now we're in for a treat as we have a wonderful opportunity to take a behind the scenes peek at the illustration process from Brittany Chickasee, renowned for her artistic prowess. Brittany has lent her talents to notable works such as The Kitten Story, A Mostly True Tale, written by Emily Jenkins, and Yadira, The Beloved Friend, written by David Chapman. Please welcome Brittany. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm just so honored to have worked with all the wonderful people here at Candlewick. And I'm just thrilled to be here alongside the incredible Meg Medina. Thank you for that heartwarming story. Oh my gosh, it was just so touching to know the backstory there. Um, so yeah, I thought we could just jump into the behind the scenes making of No More Senora Mimi, starting with the very first sketches of Anna here. Um, you can see they're really rough. I sketched these pretty much right after reading the manuscript for the very first time. I find that the first read through always leaves you with a certain kind of impression, and you want to try and capture that energy as soon as possible. Um, these are also the only sketches that I did on real paper. So everything else was sketched out on the iPad because it's just much easier to move everything around, resize elements, and you of course have that magical undo button. And then let's see, for the next slide, we have the initial character designs that didn't change too much overall. I think I made Anna a little bit younger in the final art. I also changed her shoes about halfway through the final art from these boots that she was wearing because I'm just like, oh my gosh, these are so not her. And I find that like once you spend a lot of time with the character, especially one with as much personality as Anna has, you just get to know them better, and they really take on a life of their own. And then the next slide. So Meg touched on this briefly, but emotions. Meg, you're just a master of emotions. I don't know how you do it, but somehow in a 32-page picture book, you take us on quite the roller coaster of emotions, from joy, anticipation, frustration, worry, just kind of everything in between. So like you said, I worked really hard to capture those emotions through expressions, body language, and just overall composition. And, and yes, I certainly commend you, Meg, for writing about those difficult emotions, because life is not all sunshine and rainbows, and kids know that. They're smart. So they certainly deserve our honesty when it comes to those difficult topics. Next slide. So here is just a little peek into my process for a spread, beginning with a rough sketch. And this was actually the very first spread that I sketched out because I was so drawn to the emotion in this moment. Everything that Anna must be feeling, all the conflicting thoughts swirling around in her head as she realizes that she won't be spending as much time with her beloved Signora Mimi. And hiding under the table is certainly something that I remember doing as a kid. I'm sure a lot of you remember that too. So I think we can all kind of relate to that feeling of needing to escape to that secret place when you're upset. But yeah, in general, I keep my sketches fairly loose, a lot of energy and movement, and then I block in kind of the values and colors. And you can see the final image on the next slide. Turned out. And then I think I have another. Yep, there we go. So here's another quick look at the process. So my background is actually in traditional painting. So even though all of this was done digitally on the iPad, I still kind of built up the layers as if it was a real painting on a canvas. So I don't know, I think this just helps lend the environment kind of a certain amount of depth and atmosphere that you can see on the final there. The next slide. Yep. And then I think I just have a couple more of the processes. So yep, here's another sketch to final. And then a second one there. Overall, I kept the color palette throughout the book pretty warm and inviting, just because this is such a warm and tender story. I really wanted our readers to feel welcomed. And then, so cover ideas. These were a few different sketches of many, kind of showing you the brainstorming process that goes on behind choosing a cover, which is a very collaborative endeavor, a very important one, because you're essentially trying to capture the entire essence of a book in one image. So yeah, it's quite the fun challenge. And then finally, I just need to thank my animal companions here. Thank you all to the neighborhood squirrels for providing me with those wonderful reference shots. You'll see lots of squirrels in the book. Chip is my 13-year-old Corgi Terrier who provided a lot of the reference for Poncho, the dog in the book. And then Sherbert is my cat and drawing companion and overall supervisor. So yeah, thank you for listening. And I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited for September.
Oh my God, Brittany, thanks for sharing those fascinating insights into the artistic process behind this book. That was so wonderful. So now let's dive into a brief chat between Meg and Brittany. Take it away, guys.
See if she comes back.
Here I am. Here I am.
Okay.
I didn't go far. I was already talking. I forgot that I had muted myself. Brittany, you and I have not been in the same space together. So this is our first real like meeting time, and I love it. I there's no scarier moment than when you first like get the sketches from an illustrator and here they come. And just the moment I opened it, I just you understood Anna so beautifully. So I just want to say how much I appreciate um, how quickly you worked and how beautifully you worked. And I love this idea of your layering like a painter. And I notice online that you're also experimenting with all kinds of painting forms. Is that true? You work in
I
all.
am. Yeah, it's kind of as part of the 100-day challenge right now on Instagram.
Oh,
You kind of spend 100 days branching out and trying something new. So I've been experimenting a bit with watercolors and pastels and that kind of thing, just to, I don't know, get out of my comfort zone and learn something
is
new.
that for all creatives that to try
Um,
something new for 100 days?
anybody can join. You could join.
Librarians, everybody out there, this is our
Yes.
chance. 100 days doing something new and different.
Mm.
Wow. Wow. That, yeah, I feel like I'm sort of in the middle of something like that. So my brain is currently stretched to capacity, but I'm going
Yes,
back to that
I
again.
understand that. Well, no, I just wanted to thank you again for your incredible work, and just we are so honored to have your stories. And I will never forget the first time I was working at the library, and I believe it was 2017, 2018, but Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away had just come out. And so we had a little display right by the main desk with all our new picture books that had a bright yellow sticker on it. And I remember picking it up and flipping through it and just being like, oh my gosh, that was just an adventure. That was a journey. Like, I just went through so many different emotions, and like, oh my gosh, that
Ah,
book,
but just
I
like
can
a
tell
kid
you.
does, right? Every
Yeah.
day. I think every day that's the magic, I think, of writing picture book. At least it is for me, right? I feel like it might be the same for you. Like watching how kids move from highs and lows, moment to moment, and how they see the highs and lows, like what produces the highs and lows in them is really, really interesting to me. Did you always want to be an illustrator while you were a librarian? Like, how did that work?
No, no. I had no idea what I was doing with my life. Um, I, I got my
That's always a
degree.
good sign in
Right?
people.
Right. I was kind of all over the place. I was working as a barista for a while, a waitress, and then I decided like I really love books because my degree was in English and studio art. So I'm like maybe I'll look into library school. So I did, and I got my degree in 2018 and was working in them, and I had no idea like just how far picture books had come in general. Like,
Yeah.
and I was surrounded by them pretty much every day. You know, whether I was shelving them or putting them on display or helping a family pick out new picture books. Um, and so I was just, and I know we technically weren't supposed to read on the job, but I would always sneak away and flip through the new picture books. And I just started checking out like hundreds of them. And I don't know, just enraptured by the whole process of creating a book. Um, and so then I joined SCBWI and learned more about just kind of what all goes into it. And I just fell in love and I devoted a lot of time to it.
Oh my gosh,
So,
to our advantage, right? To the children's lit community's advantage. I will agree with you. I think there's a lot of sophistication in children's literature across the board.
mm,
I say often when I'm speaking that we're in a golden age of children's books, and I believe that. I think the people coming to the table, the stories coming to the table, the quality of art, everything from, soulful to comic to, stories of here, of other places. It's so sophisticated and so lovely to see. The most important thing I think is just getting folks reading outside what they normally grab immediately,
mm.
right? And just like events like this and others like that encourage people and introduce people to new titles, new authors, new voices. Like everybody should be following your career to see the next thing. Like what is Brittany going to come to the table with next? Because it's so exciting to see, a fresh approach and an enthusiasm and so on. But anyway, I'm delighted.
No,
I'm
no,
delighted.
it's been quite the journey. So I have to thank the libraries for getting me here. And just thank you to all the librarians and teachers out there for getting those books into kids' hand, especially in this current environment where that can be a struggle. That's a whole nother topic, another
Yeah,
conversation. But
but
yes,
an
thank you.
important one. I'm going to
Yes.
just throw out there, but an important one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for your hard work and dedication, and for just making a difference in these kids' lives because it does help.
I think a lot of them are out in our audience right now. Librarians, are you out there? I think you are. So I agree. Now, do you do any work in libraries still, or you are 100% in illustration now?
So right now I am taking a bit of a break from libraries. I expect I will be going back part-time sometime in the near future. But yes, right now I am focusing on telling some stories. So more to
Well,
come.
I hope you and I, Matt, meet up on the road and that
Yes.
we have a chance to talk about our beautiful book. And I really, really can't wait to hear kids. I want to hear their babysitter stories. Like my own
Oh, yeah.
editor remembers being fired by multiple children on her rotation when but she was like the teenage babysitter. That's a whole other kind of story. My daughter was fired by her. She was watching also one day because she didn't let him do something. So I'm really curious to hear from kids, and I feel full of expectation there.
Oh yes, I love how honest they are. So you always know.
Brutally
Yes,
so
they do
sometimes.
not hold back, and that's what I love about them.
And so I'm wondering, is Sawako going to come in with the hook and pull us out, or
Thank you guys so much. It's so fascinating. I'm just like sitting here, like with all smiles, just listening. I could listen to you guys talk forever. So, but thank you.
I want to be conscious of the time and not eat up
Oh.
because I want to hear from Mike and Dave at the end as well. All the
Yeah.
other
As do
books
I.
that I need to be reading when I book talk to kids.
Well, thank you. A sincere thank you to both of you guys for giving us an insider look at this wonderful tribute to all caregivers. No More Senora Mimi will be available in September. So make sure to check that out and pick up your copies, everyone. And, we've run out of time for Q&A, but if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And we will have our speakers answer the questions in the chat box. So we will move on to our presentation. But yes, here's a slide with the cover of both Spanish and English version. So make sure to check that out in September. Oh, and don't forget to connect with Meg on her social media channels to celebrate National Library Week together, as she serves as this year's honorary chair. This is the schedule of the main events happening around this week, and we'd love for you to celebrate with us all. All right. Now we're moving on to give you some tea on Fall 24 picture books and illustrated middle grade titles to note from Candlewick. So before diving in, as always, make sure to follow us on social media. Please tag us if you're hosting during this preview. We'd love to hear what you think using hashtag Candlewick Preview. And be sure to subscribe to our library e-newsletter as well, Candlewick Circ, and all others you see available here. And then we're also highly encouraging you to tune into our Black Creators series, which is an educator-focused conversation series that highlights the work of Black authors and illustrators led by Dr. Sonia Terry Paul. Our 4th season is now available with this all-star cast. So check out the full schedule on blackcreatorsseries.candlewick.com. And I also just want to give a shout out here. We are just so excited about these ALA Award winners. If you haven't checked these out already, please be sure to check it out. We Could Fly, a John Steptoe New Talent Illustrator Award winner, Elf Dog and Owlhead, a Newbery Honor Book, Gather, a Michael L. Prince Honor Book, How Do You Spell Unfair, a Coretta Scott King Author Honor Book. We're just so happy and delighted for these books to be available now. And on April 25th, we hope you all can join the Coretta Scott King Book Awards Roundtable's virtual event featuring this year's John Steptoe Award winner, including our very own illustrator of We Could Fly, Brianna Mukudiri Uchendu. We actually just got the registration link, so we'll drop it in the chat, and hopefully you can join our celebration there. And yep, thank you, Factor. She just dropped it in the chat. All right, and you might already have this page bookmarked since it's launched last month, but wanted to highlight it here. We've partnered with the ALA United Against Book Bans Initiative to create helpful book resumes, supporting readers with access to challenged books. Each book resume summarizes the book's significance and educational value, including a synopsis, reviews from journals, awards, accolades, and more. And they all live on the site that you can access through this QR code. And it's a collection of easy to print documents. So be sure to bookmark this resource page for quick access to these valuable tools for discussions with administrators, book review committees, and the public at board meetings if needed. And also wanted to let you know we will be at TLA coming up in April. So we hope you'll join us there and come and say hello. We're at booth 2728. If you're there, join our star authors at their panels and major programs. Meg will be there. As you can see, we have her speaking at the opening awards and author session, which is a ticketed event that kicks off the show. And then we also have Kate DiCamillo, John Shu, Carol Boston Weatherford on Children's Roundtable's flagship program, The Power of Story. And Kate DiCamillo will also be speaking at Teacher Day in conversation with Kelly Yang. And since we're on Kate DiCamillo, just a note here that her second book of the Narendra Tales is coming out in the fall, Hotel Balzar. So make sure to check that out. It's a magical follow-up to The Puppets of Spellhorst. It's a book 2 in a trio of novellas with elegant line art by the inimitable Julia Sarda. We also have authors on panels at TLA, Jean Neary, Arlene Casimir, Elizabeth Casimir, Carol Boston Weatherford. We also have Kekla Magoon and Cynthia Leidich-Smith on panels. So make sure you check those out if you're there. And then also be sure to register for next week's YA virtual preview through the QR code here. So you'll get to hear all about our Fall 24 books for teens. It's next Friday at 2 p.m. And then lastly, you can access a bird's eye view of our Spring 24 list with archive recordings of our virtual previews and author videos at this QR code here. All right, move on to some new picture books and illustrated middle grades you won't want to miss this fall. First, we have They Call Me Teach. From Kitlet's first couple, Lessa Klein Ransom and James E. Ransom, who together have received all the accolades, including last year's ALA Legacy Awards, an all too timely reminder of the incredible depredations visited upon enslaved people and of the power of access to literacy in books. Teach A young man enslaved on a southern plantation secretly teaches others to read and write, risking everything for freedom. Through moonlit sessions and clandestine lessons, he empowers those around him with knowledge and hope. With spare, moving first-person narration told in an era-appropriate dialect, complemented by stunning watercolors illustrations, the celebrated duo of Leslie Klein Ransom and James E. Ransom honor the bravery and generosity of spirit behind countless untold acts of resistance during the time of slavery. This is an essential addition to classroom units on slavery and the Civil War era. The finished art is incredible and cinematic, and an evocative book design effectively combines spot art and full spreads. This is coming out in September for ages 5 to 8. I have a few interiors to share here. It's phenomenal. And then next we have Monty and Me. This is a brand new picture book from Newbery Honor-winning author of Red, White, and Whole, Rajani LaRocca. It's a tender story of extended family, perfect for anyone who's ever felt left out. Art by Nadia Alam, who is a talented illustrator of Bangladeshi Canadian descent, whose work beautifully weaves together the realms of illustration, education, and social justice. In this book, we are introduced to Priya. Every Saturday, Priya enjoys the undivided attention of her favorite aunt, Monty. But when her cousin Aditi joins the gathering, Priya feels a pang of jealousy and struggles to share Monty's company. But with Monty's help, Priya learns the value of inclusion and making room for everyone in their family. The text is pitch perfect for a read aloud story time. It also includes a few riddles throughout the story that will encourage readers to ponder their meaning and to come up with their own. It's coming out in November this year for ages 3 to 7. And next we have Crowning Glory, a celebration of Black hair. I am so excited to share with you a brand new picture book from the superstar duo Carol Boston Weatherford and Ekwa Holmes. You may recall that they are the creators of The Voice of Freedom, which received much acclaim, including Caldecott Honors, CSK John Steptoe Award, just the list goes on. So as you can imagine, their latest collaboration is nothing short of extraordinary. Crowning Glory is a celebration of the beauty of Black hair creations through the rhyming text and captivating collage art. It vividly portrays the intricate beauty of Black hair, from cornrows forming complex patterns to regal poofs that scrape the sky. These styles are more than just hair. They embody loving ritual, culture, and community, showcasing the boundless creativity and strength within. This is coming out in September for ages 7 to 10.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. Just wanted to say that. I didn't really get to say that earlier. But anyways, I'm delighted to share with you the mythical new picture book, Beanie the Banshee. Best-selling Irish author Owen Colfer and award-winning Irish illustrator Steve McCarthy joined forces to create a sensational new story full of darkness and light and sweeping scales, with a big beating heart at its very core. If you don't already know, banshees are known as supernatural Irish harbingers of doom, but not many know that they grow on the prickly gorse bush inside little pods, and that the sole job of a baby banshee, or banshee, is to bond with a human and know all there is to know about that person, including when they're destined to breathe their last breath. One banshee named Beanie, however, is no ordinary herald of death. When she sees her person, a little girl named Rose, she decides to change both their fates, and instead of delivering bad news, protect Rose and her family. Full of stunning Celtic imagery, this story unfolds like a film, a gloriously immersive, detailed, and emotional storytelling experience. Beanie the Banshee is coming out in November. And now we have the much anticipated new picture book from the best-selling award-winning creators of A Child of Books, Oliver Jeffers and Sam Winston. In this story, we follow Dictionary. Dictionary wishes she could tell a story like other books, so one day she decides to bring her words to life. How exciting it is to finally have an adventure on her very own pages. But what will she do when her characters collide and everything gets all in a jumble, causing the most enormous tantrum to explode? This isn't what she wanted at all. Luckily, her friend Alphabet knows exactly what to do and sings a song that brings calm and order to Dictionary's pages once again. The Dictionary story is a spectacular homage to the written word and is destined to become a modern classic, inspiring budding and curious readers, writers, and artists everywhere. This is coming out in August of this year.
All right, thank you. So we have a few titles to note here from Walker Books US, When the Stammer Came to Stay, from internationally acclaimed author Maggie O'Farrell, known for the adult novels, The Marriage Portrait and Hamnet, which is a movie adaptation starring Paul Mescal as Shakespeare, is currently in the works, as well as her children's book, Where Snow Angels Go, comes a new long format picture book that explores sisterly affection and what it means to rediscover your voice and yourself. When the Stammer comes to stay is based on the author's own experiences growing up with a stammer and is gorgeously illustrated by Daniela Jaglenka Terrazini, who also illustrated Where Snow Angels Go. And then we also have an illustrated middle grade title from Walker Books US, The Chronicles of a Lizard Nobody. From the best-selling author of A Monster Calls, Patrick Ness, this funny, wise middle grade series explores every stereotype, including what it means to be a hero, in a brilliant reptilian take on surviving school. Smart, relatable, and densely illustrated in black and white for graphic appeal, this middle grade series returns to Ness's themes of grief, bullying, and negotiating differences, but with zeal and comic relief to spare. There might be another slide in there about MIT kids. Great, thank you. Awesome. So moving on, we have a title from MIT Kids Press. So How to Be a Color Wizard, Jason Logan. In a bountiful book combining art and chemistry, a celebrated ink maker invites kids to become color wizards by foraging and transforming natural materials to make their own paint and artistic creations. What colors might await in a leafy forest, a berry-stained back alley, a seaweedy beach, or even the dark corners of an ordinary fridge? With this book as a guide, curious young wizards can make natural confetti, unlike the hidden color power inside a leaf, and craft a paintbrush wand. Jason Logan's art has been featured in the New York Times, the New Yorker, and NPR, and his documentary, The Color of Ink, was a special selection at the Toronto International Film Festival in 2022. After a successful adult book on natural color and numerous workshops with kids, he's ready to bring ink making to a younger audience. This is coming out in September this year. And make sure to sign up to our e-newsletters for MIT Kids and MIT Press, and they also have a social presence as well.
Back again, hi. We'd also like to know a few more younger middle grade titles. So first we have an exciting debut from Melody Hobson, one of Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People and co-CEO and president of Ariel Investments, a global assessment management fund, and the first minority-owned investment fund firm in the US. And fun fact, she's actually married to George Lucas. In her first children's book, Melody Hobson brings excitement to the realm of financial literacy and gives kids the tools they need to navigate money now and in the future. This book is perfect for helping readers to learn about bartering, profit and loss, the origins of credit, ATMs, and even fun facts about money around the world. Featuring energetic artwork by debut illustrator Caitlin Stevens, an art teacher and award-winning illustrator whose work has been featured in American Illustration, among other publications. Priceless Facts About Money is an inviting, entertaining, and richly educational resource for every child and adult. And then we're kicking off a charming new illustrated chapter book series with the first book, Fee Maller, Greatest Host of All Time, written by Suma Subramaniam, author of the wonderful Namaste is a Greeting, and illustrated by Archana Srinavisan. V. Maller loves living on the farm, but what she loves even more is the harvest festival known as Pongal. The festival is finally here, and this year is extra special because Maller's aunt, uncle, and cousins from Seattle will be visiting and celebrating with them. Malar is super excited and promises to be a great host to her cousins. But when her cousins talk about all the things they have back home, or when they're not interested in the animals on the farm, She finds it hard to keep her patience and be the gracious host she promised she'd be. The cousins clearly don't start off on the right foot, but after a few clashes, there are some laughs, and Mallory realizes that her cousins might just become friends after all. A glossary of Indian terms and an author's note about Pongal can be found in the back matter. This book is coming out in November.
Next, we have a title from Candlewick Studio, King Alfred and the Ice Coughing. Kevin Crossley, Holland, and Chris Riddle, the illustrious creators of the popular Arthur the Always King, return with a tale within a tale focused on a heroic West Saxon king who championed the power of storytelling. It's a glimpse of King Alfred's passion for stories and literacy in this captivating and imaginative retelling. Perfect for reluctant readers and those seeking an immersive journey into history, this book promises an unforgettable reading experience for all, coming out in November for ages 10 and up. And lastly, on the illustrated middle grade list, we have Star Sailor, My Life as a NASA Astronaut. From his childhood dreams of space to becoming the first Black NASA administrator appointed by President Obama, author Charles Bolden's story is one of adventure and perseverance. In this book, Bolden contributed family photos, childhood memories, and personal stories to give readers an insider look at what it's like to be an astronaut, a real-life star sailor. In addition to scientific sidebars and plenty of fun facts for middle grade space lovers, this story has beautiful messages of shared humanity, unity, and overcoming racial and cultural differences. It's coming out in October from ages 8 to 12.
And now we have 3 books that I think are really great. So these are kind of our more to know picture books. So How to Tantrum Like a Champion, with a playful, soothing text and dynamic, stylish illustrations. Alan Wolfe and Keisha Morris offered the perfect blueprint for readers of any age to keep those overwhelming feelings from taking them surprise. And then Not Far From Here, a debut author and award-winning illustrator unite to craft an entirely bilingual ode to the amour, courage, and memories we carry from one generation to the next, from one country to another. And then Eli and the Uncles, with delightful warmth and whimsy, author Jehan Madhani and award-winning illustrator Rasheen Khairia present a hilarious countdown to bedtime that will have young readers and listeners dreaming of woolly beards instead of woolly sheep.
Yeah, and make sure to also check out My Father's House by Mina Javaharban. In a warm, vibrantly illustrated story drawn from the author's childhood memories, the team behind My Grandma and Me follow a girl and her father as they explore the wondrous city of Isfahan, Iran, and his family home. Mr. with Prawns Mystery Soup by Giovanna Zuboli and Maria Chiara Di Giorgio. Stunning artwork from the acclaimed illustrator of The Midnight Fair illuminates a sweet cautionary tale about a rabbit whose fabled soup making gets away from him. And we also have A Pine Cone. While Daddy is busy wrangling a mud-happy dog, someone else is collecting lots and lots of pine cones. Helen Yoon brings back the parent-child duo from previously published Off Limits in a droll celebration of high enthusiasm. Be sure to also check out Kevin and the Blackbirds by first-time collaborators Hans Christian Andersen Award winner David Almond and a 2-time Kate Greenaway Medal winner PJ Lynch. They transform a traditional Irish tale about the power of nature and the willingness to let go. We also have Remember Also Me by George Butler, a sensitive and powerful book about the war in Ukraine, telling the stories of the real people behind the news headlines. And lastly, Snack Please. Banana chips, rice cakes. When Gertie's snack craving strikes, her dad introduces the delights of growing, making, and sharing your very own food in this charming picture book by the creators of Carry Me, Georgie Burkett. And that's the tea for fall 24. We've got plenty more, so be sure to check out our full Edelweiss catalog on our main page. For now, we'll let David and Mike take the stage. Sorry, we're a few minutes later, but David and, Pactra, I'll let you take over.
So to finish off our preview, I'm delighted to introduce our closing speakers, David LaRochelle and Mike Wanuka. So does David ever get tired of making books for young people? No. He can't think of a better profession in the world. And is Mike an all-pro linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys? No. He's an award-winning author and illustrator from Minneapolis. Together, they are the team behind the amazing Geisel-winning See the Cat early reader series and the picture books How to Apologize and the upcoming Go and Get Rex. Today, they are here to talk about their hilarious new book, Mr. Fox's Game of No. If we have time at the end, we're going to take some questions from the audience for a quick Q&A, so be sure to drop your questions in the Q&A box. All right, here you go.
Well, thank you very much for having us here. It's an honor to be on the same program with Meg and Brittany, so that's wonderful. And we love all the great people at Candlewick. They've just been so good to us. So my name is David.
And my name is Mike. It's great to be here.
And we're happy to share our new book from Candlewick, Mr. Fox's Game of No. We're going to talk a little bit about how Mike and I started working together. Hopefully we'll have a chance to read the book, and then my fingers are crossed, my favorite part, I'm hoping Mike will do a drawing for us at the end. But first of all, Mike, could you go ahead and share your screen?
Here we go.
Excellent.
There we go.
There is my kindergarten picture. So that is me when I was about 5 years old. And I always loved drawing. And I remember my kindergarten teacher, Miss Gustafson, when we had different subjects, stations in kindergarten, she always gave me extra time to spend drawing. And when she did that, even though I was 5 years old, I felt like a real artist then. Teachers have such a huge impact on you, and Miss Gustafson did. And here is a picture that I drew when I was in kindergarten, Miss Gustafson's class. And I suppose this could be called Artist with the Dirty Ears. So there's my picture.
Yeah. Well, like David, I have always loved to draw. I think that's the only thing we have in common, David, from when we were kids. And here's a picture of me. This is when I was in Head Start. And my mom, not too long ago, gave me this box of drawings that I had done in Head Start. And one really stood out. It was a family portrait. I have a pretty big family. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. And having all those kids in the house, it was pretty chaotic. And when I saw this drawing that I did of my family, I thought, wow, I really captured what it was like growing up in my house. So here is that family portrait that I did when I was 4. And that's me, or actually that's my dad in the middle. My dad yelled a lot. And that's me down here in the lower left. I have a fish head. I'm not sure why. But my brother Dave, who was just a year older than me, everyone thought we were twins, and he has that same fish head. And I just feel really fortunate that something I loved the most when I was a kid, I still get to do every day by creating books.
Well, Mike and I both live in Minnesota, and as a matter of fact, we're both part of the same writing group, and that is how our very first book together came about. I had brought in a dummy for our writing group to share with everyone. It was a book I was working on called Moo, and I really wanted to be the illustrator of this book, but I just was not getting the illustrations the way that I like them. So here is one of the cow paintings that I was working on, but no. I just wasn't happy with that book, at least that look.
Yeah, and I remember when David brought in the story, the Moo story, and I just thought it was brilliant. And I went home to my wife and I told her about the story, and I told her I wanted to be the illustrator. But I knew David would do a fine job, so I never mentioned it again. But I instantly thought I wanted to illustrate that story.
Several months later, Mike was having an art show, and he sent out postcards for the art show. And this was the image that was on the front of his postcard. And when I saw that cow, I thought, that is how I want the cow to look in my book, Moo. Instantly, I knew that should be the cow. Now, you probably know authors are not supposed to go track down their own illustrators. But I asked Mike if he might be interested in doing the illustrations, and Mike said,
Moo.
which I took to mean he did want to illustrate the book. So we took a chance. We took my dummy and we took one of Mike's illustrations and we sent it off to an editor that Mike had worked with before. And we were very lucky that the editor said, yes, would like to have the two of you to work together. And that became our first book, Moo, which was now published 10 years ago. Mike, we've been working together as a team for 10 years, which doesn't seem possible.
Feels like much longer, David. Just kidding. And since Moo, David and I have worked on several books together. Here are the books we've worked on together with Candlewick, and including the one that comes out this spring, Go and Get with Rex.
Now, Mike and I, something we do have in common as adults that we also love to play games. Mike and I are part of the same game night group that meets on Fridays during the winter, Friday evenings, and we get together and we play games that we have invented ourselves. And Go and Get with Rex is a direct result of a game that I made up for our group to play during COVID when we couldn't meet in person. And it was really fun to see that a game that we played was able to be turned into a picture broker. So, and that brings us to our book coming out this fall, which is Mr. Fox's Game of No. And you're probably seeing a theme here. Yes, we both love games. And this book is a game as well, too. I made a dummy of the book, but even though I did sketches for the book, I knew from the beginning I wanted Mike to be the illustrator. I was so familiar with his work and the creative ways that he draws characters, the expression, much better than I can do. So I'm glad that our editor, Andrea at Candlewick, said, yes, we want Mike to be the illustrator.
Yeah, and I'm happy you feel that way, David. I thought it was another brilliant concept by you. And even though David gives me this head start, of course, I need to make the characters my own. And that always starts in my sketchbook. So here are some of the very first sketches I did of Mr. Fox. And this is one of the tighter versions at that early stage. And I thought this was fine, but it still didn't feel quite right. It wasn't until I loosened up and I came up with this sketch. And this definitely started feeling more how I wanted, or how I envisioned Mr. Fox to look. And it gave him a lot more pizzazz, exaggerating his features. And then the next step is to do the color. And this is the color palette I thought I would have Mr. Fox, how I would have him look. But I thought it didn't feel quite right. So I just tried lots of different color combinations. And then I tried one that felt really odd, adding some browns and yellows. I knew I wanted a purple jacket. And I came up with this one and it just felt perfect to me. It enhanced his personality. It was a little bit more sophisticated, some of the colors in the palette. And I just thought it was perfect. And now, actually, we would love to read the story to you. And here is the cover. Should we go ahead and do that, David?
I have to tell the people out there, this is an actual game, and it works so much better if you play along and play the game. And you may not believe this, but we have installed special microphones in your computer so we can hear whether you are playing that game or not. And you do not want to disappoint us. You don't want to make these two men feel sad today. So we'll be listening if you play the game. And go ahead, Mike.
All right. Mr. Fox's Game of No.
Written by David LaRochelle.
Oh, illustrated by me, Mike Winutka.
Here's how it goes. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right up for a battle of wits and test your brain with my nearly impossible game of no. Here's how it works. Every time I ask a question, you have to say no. If you accidentally say yes, Then you have to go all the way back to the beginning of this book and start over. Are you ready to play? Whoops. Did you say yes? If you did, then go back to the beginning and try again. Yeah. Look what was just delivered. A giant strawberry sundae with whipped cream, sprinkles, and 3 enormous chocolate-covered cherries. It smells scrumptious. Would you like a taste? Oh, well, that's too bad. I guess I'll have to eat it all myself. Chomp, lick, gulp, burp. That was delicious. Did I get any ice cream on my face?
And that is Mr. Fox's game of no.
Well, thank you for letting us share it. And Mike, at this point, this is my favorite part. Mike, would you please do a drawing for us?
No.
Mike, didn't you hear me at the beginning say that you were going to do a drawing at the end?
No.
But Mike, right behind you there, isn't that your drawing paper ready to go?
No.
Well, in that case, maybe I'll go ahead and I'll do the drawing instead. I'll get my
no, David, I'll do the drawing. Here, I'm gonna move this a little closer. And I was thinking maybe I would draw a picture of Mr. Fox. How's that sound?
Looks good. Yep.
All right. I'm gonna start with Mr. Fox's ears. Then his hat. I'm looking out at you guys.
You always make that look so easy, Mike.
I've drawn the fox a lot, David.
Have you drawn it as many times as Max the dog?
Yeah, probably not quite as many times, since there are 3 of those books. All right, hopefully that's starting to look a little like Mr. Fox.
Well, one of the fun things about being an author is that whatever I come up with in my story, Mike has to end up drawing. And in this case, well, as I'm watching him draw right now, yeah, it looks like Mr. Fox is holding something. So if I were to come up with something, Mike would have to draw it. But I'm wondering if any of the viewers out there, teachers and librarians, if you have an idea about what Mike could make Mr. Fox holding. If you have an idea, why don't you put it in the chat box there, and we'll take, Laura had a great idea right away. So a book is one possibility, Mike.
A book?
Oh, and it's Amy has a different choice if you want. How about a tuna sandwich?
A tuna sandwich, okay. A book, a tuna sandwich.
If you move your drawing a little bit closer to you, Mike,
Oh, yeah, there we go.
that's much better. Yeah. And Susan has combined them a sandwich. How about, or our third guess is a popsicle.
A popsicle, okay. So a tuna sandwich.
Or tuna sandwich. Book,
Okay.
popsicle, sandwich.
Let's see here. We've
stumped Mike.
I know.
In all the years I've watched him draw, I've never seen him stump, but I've never had anyone ask him to draw a tuna sandwich before either. So
It does sound really yummy, David.
it's lunchtime here in Minnesota where we are. So yes, I'm ready for my lunch too.
All right. Well, this is my attempt at a popsicle, David.
Okay. Is pretty good.
All right. What do you think?
I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I was expecting a book about tuna fish sandwich, but I'll go with a popsicle.
All right.
Sounds and a tuna fish sandwich. Nice job, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, David.
And I don't know if we have any time for questions or not, but well, if
We certainly do, and thank you guys so much. That was so fun. I mean, I was so tempted to say yes to so many questions in that book, but I made it through. We
good.
all did.
Well,
So yeah. So yeah, we actually have a few questions that came through. If you guys are open to answering a few.
good.
Neda actually asked, you two have been working together for a very long time. Do you have a favorite memory you would like to share with us?
I'll share one quickly, Mike, and then you can share one if you want. Well, the one I was thinking that came first of all is that when our book Moo came out, we were asked to do a preschool program to the different libraries in the state. And we thought we were going to go to 12 libraries. They sent us to 61 libraries across Minnesota. So we knew at the end of visiting those 61 libraries, we would either be really, really good friends or we would hate each other. And it came out we were good friends, right, Mike? Yes.
Okay, so my favorite memory, just kidding. Yes, David. Well, my favorite memory would be about, I think 3 years ago, we had a Zoom meeting around ALA, and I had no idea what the Zoom meeting was for, and David and I got on the meeting, and it was the Theodore Seuss Geisel Committee telling us that See the Cat won the Theodore Seuss Geisel medal. And David and I just broke down in tears. It was a very, and I think one thing that was really special about it, that it was a Zoom meeting. So David and I were there together, seeing each other's reaction, and then be able to see the whole committee on the screen too was pretty awesome.
It's a great memory.
That's so great. I actually got to go on that call with you guys, and it was just such a beautiful call with the community and everyone. Yeah, such good memory. Well, while we're on that topic, see the cat, see the dog, see the ghost books, those are early readers. What are you guys, what do you feel is like the big difference between working on picture books collaboratively and then also early readers versus early readers?
Certainly the language, the type of words that you can choose. Picture books are often read to the child, but hopefully the beginning reader will be something accessible that a child can read on their own. So that's one thing that I'm always thinking about. And I think especially with early readers, it has to be very, very engaging because reading is not an easy thing to do. And the child is going to have to want to read this story to struggle through with all the sounding out of words that they're just learning how to do. Those are two things I think of, Mike. How about with the drawings?
Yeah, I think early readers for the See the Cat series, it's very simple backgrounds. The characters is kind of the main focus, and it simplifies what's happening so you can read the words a little bit more easily. And picture books, I feel like you have a little more freedom of like exploring backgrounds and just being a little bit more elaborate maybe with the illustrations. So I think that would be the main difference for me. And also the format for a picture book is a little larger, which is, different way to approach the illustrations.
Thank you. Yeah, that's so fascinating. I have a few more questions coming in. Maybe we can take two more. So Sharon asked, is there any chance I could get that drawing since I suggested popsicle? Thanks. Maybe we can work something out, Sharon. But yeah, I was eyeing that drawing. I was like, oh, that would make a really great giveaway gift. Well, we're gonna have to send you a quick email after, Mike.
Yep, I'd be happy to send it anywhere you want me to send it.
All right, that's good news for Sharon. Okay, one last question. This is actually a really good one. Have you guys, I know this is coming out in the fall, but have you guys read this to a kid? Have you tried a read aloud session with anyone who's younger?
Both Mike and I do a lot of school visits, and both of us have tried reading this book with just the images, since it isn't a book yet, to schools. And it has been a lot of fun to read out loud because people laugh. And we often choose a teacher to be the person that's the game player and has to answer some of the questions. And the kids love, love, love hearing their teachers make a mistake. And then when we ask the kids the questions, they think it's very funny and they laugh out loud. And there's nothing better than hearing people laugh out loud for one of our books. It's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know how a book is going to go over. And yeah, I've been very pleasantly surprised how well this book has gone over in a group setting.
That's amazing. Well, I was definitely like laughing out loud as you guys are reading that book. It was so fun. Thank you guys so much for this wonderful insider look at your brand new collaboration, Mr. Fox's Game of Know Everyone. Please check it out, coming out this fall. All right. Oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? I can't believe it's the end of the preview, but I just wanted to pop back in here to say thank you for joining us today. If you want to check out the recording of this preview, you'll see it uploaded on our Fall 24 Lookbook page, along with some great author videos. It'll launch in April, so watch out for a link to the page. We'll be sending in an email to anyone who registered for this event. And make sure to pick up your virtual goodie bag on your way out, which includes the slides from today and other helpful resources for the featured titles. It'll just pop up right in your browser after you click out of this webinar. And I think Pactra just also dropped it in the chat. Thanks, Pactra. So yeah, I guess it's time to say goodbye. I hope you guys had a wonderful time, so much fun, and happy reading. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event, which is happening next week at 2 p.m. You guys will get to know all about our Fall 24 YA titles. So be sure to look out for that. All right. Well, thank you so much and happy reading. Bye. Cheers.